I knew I wanted to craft some accessories with felt, but I feel like I needed a reference for what kind of apple I was going for, so I was looking at all these inspo from Pinterest. I went into this mostly wanting to make a headpiece, earrings, and a necklace. I don't know how to draw or sew, so I wanted something that I could realistically recreate. After drawing some inspo, I started sketching some makeup ideas, and I ended up on a headband with like 2 apples on both sides, kind of inspired by like these apple earmuffs. From the start, I knew I wanted the makeup to have freckles because I feel like that's just right for a fruit look. I also wanted the blush and lips to stay pretty clean but still colorful. For the eyes, I knew I wanted greens, and I ended up pulling inspiration from like 5 different eye looks and just combining them. I'm pretty flexible though, so I changed some of these things depending on how it felt in the moment. I also realized that my reference should have been in my own skin tone, and that made color picking a lot more easier. Initially for my hair, I wanted to use a red wig, but I felt like it would clash. I think using my natural dark hair contrasted the makeup and the accessories a lot better. I didn't have the right shade of red felt for my apple, so I checked Amazon first, but none of the shades felt right. So I ended up going on AliExpress and I found these felt stacks that I thought had 2 red sheets in each pack. I ordered 4, but it turns out there's only 1 of each color per stack. Once they arrived, I realized I had way less of the red that I expected, so I had to adjust some of the accessory designs. I also couldn't find a headband that I wanted to work with, so I ended up just ordering a pack of multicolored ones, and honestly I'm glad I did this because I could use these for future looks. I also took a lot of time to organize and separate all the felts to be color coordinated. First, I started with the headband. I picked out my base color and also picked out a cream for the inner part of the apple. I was debating between something more peachy or neutral, but I ended up choosing the cream tone. I didn't want the apple to look super round or realistic. I wanted it to have more personality. I really like the sketch crayon look, but I can't really replicate that. So I ended up doing something more geometric instead. I like how rough and handmade that makes it look. So after cutting the first apple piece, I realized I technically had enough felt to make another one, so I wanted to quickly envision what it would look like having both on either side, but I realized I probably wouldn't even show properly on the camera, especially because of how flat it is, and because I want to do vertical earrings, having 1 apple on the top would feel more balanced. I also cut out Season Everything. The apples still look kind of flat, so I tried to add eyeshadow for dimension, but that didn't really work. My original earring idea didn't really match the geometric vibe, so I reworked it. I was thinking, how could I make these look sharper and more angular? Maybe I'll just do an apple core that's been bitten. And for the seeds, I actually cut them into tiny hearts for a little detail, and at some point I cut leaves. I don't know when I did that. I glued the earring onto a pipe cleaner so it could dangle, and for the necklace I just used one of the brown necklaces that I had and I cut out a star. As I said, some of the shapes look flat, so I just added some fake stitches with a pencil because I don't know how to sew yet. I will learn. I actually bought a sewing machine last year, but I still haven't taught myself how to use it. Anyways, I finished the headband and I actually ended up removing the apple from the headband and gluing it onto a hair clip instead, and in that way I could just use it as a hair clip. When it comes to filming, I always start by setting up my desk. I pulled out my iPad first so I could keep a reference in front of me. I tried putting on the accessories, but when I was putting the necklace on, I realized one of the strings was loose, so I had to glue that back together really quick. I put on the earrings and then I added these contacts. I recently lost my colored contact virginity. These are from Happy Kristen. I thought I bought glowy brown ones, but they look kind of green. I still like them, but I would like some actual brown ones later. Then I continued my very scuffed setup. I always have something playing on my laptop. Right now I've been binge watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I went all the way from season 1 to 7 in just 2 weeks, guys. I used my power bank to connect to my broken ring light. I do have another ring light with a stand, stand on it and even a clip-on light, but I just don't use them. Recently, I've been using my Glinda Funko Pop as my phone holder. So once everything is up and ready, I just plop my phone down and I just start getting to work. I ended up changing my drawing before I started. I also switched the lip from matte to glossy. I also ended up doing a different lash combo. For my hair, I knew I wanted pigtails with curls, but a middle part felt pretty boring, so I added a side bang instead, and I curled the ponytails directly on my head. Honestly, I should do this more often because it makes doing my hair so much faster for filming. This was also kind of the moment of truth whether the headpiece would actually look good on camera. It's still a little flat, but once I checked the footage, I think it worked. I also had some extra clips, so I layered a few together to add more personality. Then I remembered I had these press-ons I commissioned like 4 months ago that match perfectly. I freaking love apples. I am blocking the app because there's lore behind these nails. I used the sticky tabs, but for some reason they wouldn't peel off properly sometimes, so I ended up just sticking them on with my bare hands or straight off the plastic. And then it was time to film the finished look and some thirst trap. If you want to see the tutorial, that will be on my TikTok. Bye! It's been